Alright, so unfortunately there was a slight issue where you couldn't hear any of my lovely casting because a setting was set wrong, so my mic wasn't recording any sound. So for those of you who have been missing any of my analysis, essentially both players have gone for 6 expand here, pretty much identical builds, except with the variation of Veni's going for catapults, which is his classic style, as we mentioned earlier, and Jibs is taking a second barracks. He has been going rifleman, so he may just be attempting to overpower his opponent's forces here, but that will be quite difficult to contest with the catapults coming out onto the field here. And both players are about to max out worker production for the main base, but Jibs throws down. That's going to be a 5-minute third. That's really greedy here from Jibs. The timings have slowly been getting earlier as people have been discovering what they can and can't get away with. And I think Veni's possibly looking to do a similar thing. Yep, there we go. And roughly 5-minute third from Veni as well. So previously we've been seeing sort of 7 or 8-minute thirds. Has been sort of standard timing for the moment. But this timing, as the worker production sort of fills up both center bases, is going to be quite important here because they can just keep producing workers behind this. You can see both players just out on the map, keeping an eye on what's going on. They don't want to risk any sort of proxy buildings going down, and they need to know exactly what their opponent's doing. Forged down here from Jibs, so even greedier with the fact these catapults are on the way from Veni here. So Veni probably looking to hit timing, although he only has 1 barracks, which is unusual for his build. So he's going to struggle to be quite so aggressive versus Jibs' 2. And second forge actually going down here in the background for Jibs. And this worker is going to get cut off. I don't think it's going to see any particularly useful scouting information. No. Confirms the third. That's not a huge amount of information. Jibs knows about his opponent's third. And Jibs just sort of posturing outside his main base. Neither player really at the moment has sort of the critical mass they need to actually try and harass and do any damage to their opponent. But again, just sweeping the map, you can see just constantly going back and forth, just making sure there's nothing on its way. But Jibs hoping to grab a quick upgrade lead to help him sort of pressure his opponent back. And you can see he's starting to swap out into these soldiers into his build, which are really good against dealing with his catapult rifleman style, especially with these towers. Riflemen don't do very well against towers with their natural armor, but with these soldiers they will actually cut through it because they have much higher sort of damage per hit with a base 9 damage. And it's going to be double armor soldier here from Jibs, which is essentially the established counter to rifleman catapult. So although Jibs hasn't seen it yet, I don't think explicitly, he does know. He might have done actually. Oh yeah, so you saw the workshop at the front, and he knows Veni likes this build anyway. This is build Veni comes back to time and again. Served him quite well in tournaments. But we'll see how Jibs plays this out. Veni may get countered pretty hard here, but we may just have enough. +2 armor is almost on the way here for Jibs. It's about halfway done. Veni just confirming there's no side routes being opened up here. I'm just slowly starting to wall off this back entrance. Oh, he's actually managed to supply cap himself. Both players have actually. I don't think. Oh no, Jibs has noticed. It's just going to take a little while for him to alleviate that block. So you can notice in Little War Game, some other RTS games will actually stop this production when you hit a supply cap. and in the war game it stops at the other end to allow for faster reinforcing. So this is typically when we'd see Veni move out. He has his 3 catapults now. And this is typically when we did see him push out previously. Throwing down some more barracks behind this and getting some upgrades. So I think he suspects with this 3rd base that he can't. Yeah, he's just going to get more information, just going to confirm there's extra production facilities going down. I think he's played his opponent enough to know that he can't quite get away with harassment just yet. It'd be really nice to see either player try and open up some side paths here. But at the moment they're just scouting around, trying to work out what their opponent's doing. And this player's actually on the way to being maxed out here. 65 versus 64. So Veni able to take a small advantage in these catapults. And Mage's Guild actually coming up in the background here for Veni. So that's going to really help him in sort of dealing with his opponent's units, because they'll tend to ball up as there's mostly quite small units, so the fireball's going to do a lot of damage when that lands. This is +4 armor on the way, and this is nearly 6 barracks worth of production here. So JBS basically at his late game stage already, amassing a huge amount of soldiers. This is 18 soldiers already, and Veni will confirm this. He sees a lot of soldiers, and he'll be able to click them and see that they're upgraded. Sees an extra racks, but doesn't really confirm much more than that. You can see on the opposing side, Jibs doesn't really know a huge amount about what's going down at the front here, but he'll have a good idea. Veni's upgrades for +2 attack are nearly done, but that's only giving him a small window of sort of equal upgrades, effectively. Because Jibs' +4 defense is nearly done on the opposite side, and we are going to see Jibs actually move out. He is splitting his forces, so possibly going to see an attack on either side. Veni's scouting around, but he's not seeing it. Veni actually going for a very forward 4th. Didn't want to break down and get into this expansion over here. Which is fair enough. It brings the centre of his army to this location here rather than having to spread out. But it is a bit more aggressive. He is going to have to control the map a bit more. And then he is going to see that these soldiers are here, so he's going to have to come down to the right hand side to defend this base. You can see in the shadows off the left here, Veni is coming around from the right hand side. So as he backs off, this is going to pull all the catapults out of position. And JBS is actually going to come around the right hand side here. These riflemen suspect what's up, but JBS is going to get a full surround here as he engages with his army. Power at the back starts to go down. These soldiers at the front are taking a bit of damage, but he just doesn't have the critical mass of mages yet to get on it. Catapults aren't firing, and these units are going to manage to find a bit of a choke in the form of hiding in these houses. First catapult shots land, but they all tend to focus the same units, and JBS has a huge surround now, all on top of these units. Workers are being pulled to try and defend this. You can see how quickly the soldiers just sort of tear through this front line of riflemen. Catapults they're managing to do some damage, but these soldiers are going to tear through them really quickly. Lovely counter build here from Jibs, and even clearing up the towers in the background here. Even if Jibs doesn't take sort of the game here, he will be able to do a huge amount of damage to his opponent's bases. This 4th is definitely forfeit. This 3rd is probably going to go down pretty soon as well. Attempting to push supply behind his opponent, but you can see his opponent's dropped down to 30 supply versus 90. This looks like it could be the end for Veni here.